What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology tier list shenanigans. We're going to be doing ourselves today a tier list on technologies. This one's going to be a long one, so get your popcorn, sit back, relax. There's a lot to go over here, but to first kind of go over how we're going to approach this, you might notice there's not that many technologies currently on this tier list. We're going to be doing economic technologies, and we're going to be doing military technologies, and I've got a third category, which is utility technologies. Now, there's not very many of the utility ones, but I wasn't 100% sure where to put them. You guys could probably argue that they might be economic technologies themselves or might be military technologies themselves, but nonetheless, that's the way we're going to be doing it. So to kick this one off with, economy is a little bit more objective, I would say, than the other ones, because it's just like, well, how many extra resources per minute do I get? So what we're going to do here is we're going to start with what I would consider to be a very mid technology. It might change as we're going along. I haven't really fully thought through this whole thing, but it might change as we're going on. We're going to be going with Flood of the Nile as our kind of comparison technology. So chucking that one right in the center here, B tier. For those of you who do not know what Flood of the Nile does, Flood of the Nile is a unique technology for Isis. Gets Isis 1 food every second for the cost of 135 gold and 8 favor. So that's 60 food a minute there. Let's just jump right along. We're going to go through this one going from left to right. We've got ourselves ads of wet here. Now, I will say that as I'm going through this, I'm not 100% sure on any of this stuff, but I'm going to give my opinion, and you can judge whether or not that's good or not. So this next one here is ads of wet. It is 50 gold, 10 favor, gives your villagers an extra 10% on the wood gather rate, and gives you a 5x bonus against trees, which is a bit funny, but it basically means you one hit the trees. So normally the villager takes 2 shots, I think, to kill the tree. So this makes you cut one of those animations out. I think the animation is 1 second. It might be 2 seconds. So it might be a fairly significant boost to your villagers. But then again, you're also going to have those villagers over chopping the trees anyways. A lot of the time you have, but what I mean by that is you're going to have 2 villagers on the trees anyways. I don't think that effect has a lot of actual substance. Now, if you jump into a editor and test it out and prove me wrong, then do that and let me know in the comment section below. But this one here is basically just a 10% boost on your wood. If you compare this to Flood of the Nile here, I need 10 villagers on wood to get myself a similar amount of gains, but it's very, very cheap. And for that, I am going to simply say this technology goes slightly above Flood of the Nile. It's a B tier tech. It's fine. It's good. It's well worth picking up, but it's not going to really make a huge impact. You probably don't want to pick it up until you've at least got a handful of villagers on wood anyways, but it's very, very cheap at 50 gold. And what was it? 10 favor, did I say? 50 gold and 10 favor, yep. So very, very cheap, worth grabbing. All right, next one. Argive patronage. Now, this tech is weird. I think this one is one of those techs which I'm just not 100% sure on whether it's busted or it's terrible. So this is 300 food, 300 gold, 40 favor. Really, really expensive. Also takes 40 seconds to train or to research. So it does take a long time for that one to actually come in. And basically what it does, or not basically, it makes your fortresses train myrmidons for free every 45 seconds. Basically, every fortress you have is a free myrmidon every 45 seconds until the end of the game, until the game ends. Or you've got no fortresses left. Now, if I've got 10 fortresses, every 45 seconds, I'm going to be getting myself a myrmidon, which is worth... if we jump over here, where is my Myrmidon? The Myrmidon is worth 70 food, 50 gold. So 120 resources every 45 seconds. If I've got a limit of 10 fortresses. So if I have every single one of my fortresses up, I'm getting 1,300 resources a minute from this. That's a lot. Compare that to this. If I've got 1 fortress up, I'm getting 130 resources a minute, right? It's just 1. Is that right? No. Every 45 seconds. It's not a minute. Every 45 seconds. So it's better in terms of gains than Flood of the Nile with just one fortress. And you're obviously going to be building more. But it's much more expensive than Flood of the Nile, and you need to set up this fortress network thing, and you don't have the choice of where to put those resources. All that being said, I'm not 100% sure this is S tier, but I do think this is better than these technologies in the mid tier here. So we're going to pop that one up here into the A tier. You can judge me about this and you can say, get up into S tier. Building 10 fortresses isn't that expensive. It's only going to be 6,000 resources. It's a lot of resources to get those fortresses up, right? Okay, next one. We've got ourselves Book of Thoth. Book of Thoth. This technology is really, 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 really good. It costs 270 wood, 30 favor, very, very expensive, but it makes your farms gather 10% faster. It makes every food source, gather 10% faster. It makes your wood gather 10% faster and your gold gather 10% faster. So this technology is effectively adds a wet times 3. Right? So we're getting a huge boost to our economy. If I've got 100 villages out on the map, I am now getting myself, if everything is gathering at 1 a second, right? You are now getting yourself a grand total of 10 resources a second more, or over the course of a minute, we are getting ourselves 600 resources, right? So that's a lot. So this technology, in my opinion, is currently sitting, I guess it's not quite as crazy as what Argive patronage can give you, but given that you're probably picking this one up when you hit the Mythic Age, when you've got 100 villages, and this one here takes a lot of setting up to do, I'm going to say 600 resources is sitting fairly high on the S tier. We might be moving these technologies down at this point. I've got a feeling that there's going to be some stuff that is much, much better than Book of Thoth here at 600 resources a minute here. So I'm going to pop those ones down so we just give ourselves a little bit of room. We've got ourselves Feasts of Renown. I believe that's what it's called. Am I correct? I hope I am. Feasts of Renown. Yes, let's go. This one makes your town centers and fortresses, actually it costs 100 gold, 18 favor. Make sure town centers and fortresses heal. I'm not exactly sure at what rate they're healing, but I know it's a decent amount. It might be like 1. But it also gives your town centers and your fortresses 1 food a second. So let's say I've got 3 town centers and I've got 1 fortress. Now, we can also combine this with Asgardian Bastion and just keep placing those Asgardian Bastions down. Let's go to the max amount we can possibly have without having an advantage over our opponent in terms of town centers. It's going to be 3. It's going to be 13, right? Times 60, right? That's going to be how much food we get a minute. That's 780 food a minute. Now, this is similarly to the Argive patronage. I need to have myself 10 fortresses for this to actually kick in. So something a little bit more fair to judge would probably be 3 town centers and 1 3 town centers and 1 fortress. So that's going to be 4 food a second, or it's going to be 240 food a minute, which is still decent, but it is slightly less than the Argive patronage. So we're going to pop this one. Wait, no, it's better than Argive patronage. So we're going to put it just above Argive patronage in terms of that. Plus, it's got that kind of, I don't know if I want to call it a utility effect or an economic effect in healing. Technically speaking, any healing I do in a game is giving myself more resources. Depending on what unit you're healing, that unit has every HP it has is worth a certain amount of resources. So technically speaking, this is probably an economic technology if you're healing anything. So it's also got that effect. So it's very, very good. Making this Argive patronage technology look very, very mid here, though this one does get very good once you get to 10. So it's a difficult one. They're very, very similar. I'm going to put them right next to each other, and you can judge whether which one is better than the other one. All right, let's keep going. This next one here is Forge of Olympus. What am I talking about? I think this is Forge of Olympus. It looks like it is. Yep, Forge of Olympus. This is 200 gold, 20 favor, 5 seconds. 5 seconds train time. So it's basically instant. And it makes your armory cost go down by 60%. So the technologies in your armory down by 60%. So let's just say we get max value out of this and we have bought 0 armory upgrades. I do not recommend you do this. So all up, you're going to be getting yourself 4,700 resources there for all of those. If I times that by 0.6, I'm getting 2,820 resources back. And that's not including things like Aegis Shield, Sarissa, Ballistics, Sunray, Burning Pitch, Olympian Weapons. So all of those techs are also going to be reduced. There's quite a few. So it's very, very good. And you're getting this instantly. So it's not like over time. So while these kind of technologies like Book of Thoth are getting us a big amount of resources over time, I think Forge of Olympus is going to come in as our first S tier technology. This is a must grab as soon as you hit the Mythic Age. This is basically the entire point of our Mythic Age here, is to get, going through Hephaestus, to get this tech, and then to we're basically instantly just going into the cheat codes and just typing in ATM of Erebus, Junk Food Night, Trojan Horse for sale, and just saying, oh, thank you for the 3,000 resources, or 4,000 resources, 6,000, whatever it is. Thank you for all those extra resources. Let's keep playing the game at this point. So really, really good. Frontline Heroics. This one is a difficult technology here to judge. This makes your infantry heroes cost minus 30% and in food and gold. So the favor is still there, but they're going to get a little bit cheaper. The Frontline Heroics technology takes your Murmillo from 40 food, 25 gold, down to 28 food, 18 gold. So it's a difference of 12 food, and it's a difference of 7 gold. So 12 and 7. So it's only 19 resources per heroized unit. If we just compare this over to Flood of the Nile, which is getting us 60 food a minute, we need to make ourselves 3 heroes every single minute to get the same amount of total resources, a little bit less, but we'll just call it the same amount of total resources as Flood of the Nile. 3. So if I make myself 10 heroes here with this technology, I'm getting more for that minute. But here's the thing. I don't think I'm ever making more than 3 heroes a minute with this technology. I think kind of at most, I'm probably making like 20 heroes every 10 minutes is my guess. Maybe not, but it's all going to come in one wave. So it's kind of more like Forge of Olympus in that sense, in that I'm picking this technology up and then I'm just going to get myself a ton of Deuterinos, a ton of heroes out with this technology coming through. But even so, I still think that these sort of, in terms of just pure economy, these sort of technologies are just going to be worth so much more. Like if I was playing Ranos and I got Flood of the Nile at 5 minutes, I would be over 5 minutes into the game. By 10 minutes, I would have myself 5 times 60, so 300 resources. That is so many heroes that I could be making just with that, or more than making up for that difference in Frontline Heroics there. So I'm sorry, as much as I like this technology, me putting this in D tier doesn't mean it's like bad. I want to preface this by saying unique technologies are really good in Age Mythology. Pretty much every single one of these is a must grab at some point in the game, depending on what you want to be doing. But Frontline Heroics, I think this one is not very good. I think this one sits at the bottom here in terms of its actual utility. Okay, so the next one here is Funeral Rites, I believe. Funeral Rites. So Funeral Rites is available through Nephthys. This costs 90 gold, 15 favor, and it's going to give every single one of your units that die, you're going to get yourself 5 gold back. Now, personally, I hate technologies like this. I don't want to be rewarded for playing bad, but in a game of Age Mythology, you will be losing units over the game. So let's just talk about, in order to pay this off, you have to lose like 10 units or 8 units, right? Is that right? I don't know. You got to lose a whole bunch of, or 20 units, 20 units. So that's a lot of dudes that have to die for you to get this one off. Now, if you've got, say, like a whole bunch of barracks units out, this could be really, really good, because like if you've got 60 population, or so you've got 100 population of villages. You've got the rest is population in military. So like 220. So you got about 60 population or 60 actual units out on the field. They all die. And now we're looking at 300 resources back for all of those dying, which is actually quite a lot. And over the course of the game, we're probably going to have a lot of dead units. The question is, does this technology give us more or less than Flood of the Nile over the course of a game? So Flood of the Nile is something like, well, it's 60 food a minute. And let's say a game goes for, say, 20 minutes. So let's say we get it at 4 minutes into the game. So we've got 16 minutes of this technology. That's getting us 960. We would have to lose a grand total of 192 units when we get that technology. I just don't think that this is happening very much. I don't think that we're losing that many units in the course of a game. Now, if the game goes really long, sure. But I'm going to pop this one just in front of Frontline Heroics. I think it's not quite as good as Flood of the Nile. I think it's perfectly reasonable to pick this technology up. Getting extra gold income is good for Egyptians, so it's worthwhile grabbing it. It's just not going to be as good as that Flood of the Nile. Okay? All right, guys, I am going to try this again. I am struggling with math. Math is not my strong suit, but that's fine. And we're going to be working out what these favor upgrades are going to be actually doing here. Horns of Consecration is Rhea. It costs 150 gold. It gives 0.05 favor a second for each of your town centers. Chances are you can have 3 of them. So what we're going to say is it's 0.15 favor a second, also known as 9 favor a minute, which if we times that by 10 is going to be equal to 90, which is exceeding our food gather rate here from Flood of the Nile. So we're going to be putting this one just up in front of this here. So 9 favor for Horns of Consecration. This is the easier one to work out. Now, Golden Apples, a little bit more challenging because it depends on how many villages you want to put onto favor. I'm going to go ahead and say that 7 villages on favor with this technology is roughly fair. That's probably a good investment on favor. You're going to get a lot of good favor returns on that. Your villages are going to be gathering at 0.06 favor a second. And then with this upgrade, they're going to be going up to about 0.08 favor a second. So that's a difference of 2 or 0.02. And we're going to times that by 7. And then we're going to times that by 60. And then we're going to get ourselves 8.4. So apples is roughly 8.4 favor a minute, which is a little bit less than Horns of Consecration. So we're going to put it behind that. Now, you can obviously put more villages on favor, but the more you put on, the less you're getting from this golden apples because the favor rate is going to be going down that your villages are working at. Obviously, you're getting more from it, but the efficiency of your villages is going down is kind of what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to say Horns of Consecration is just better, but is what it is. All right, so next one, we've got ourselves Necropolis, which is through Anubis, which is costing us 50 wood, 150 gold, and it's going to be making our monuments gather 25% faster. Each monument gathers at 0.1, with the exception of Monument to the Gods, which is 0.2. It's very expensive to get Monument to the Gods, so I'm going to be doing this comparison probably more with 4 monuments is probably a little bit more fair, though most games we're probably only going to have 3, though we're going to do it with 4 just for the sake of what I think is practical in a game. So at 0.4 times 0.25 is what we're looking for. 0.4 times 0.25 is 0.1 times 60 is going to be 6. So we're getting 6 favor a minute, which is worse than apples, worse than Horns of Consecration. And we are thus going to be putting this one slightly behind here. There we go. We're making progress here. I feel like I'm correct on this now. Happy days. We've got ourselves the next one here is a unique technology for Leto called Perception, 50 food, 100 gold. This is making our Oracle's line of sight go up by plus 10%. As both Kronos and Gaia get this one, doesn't go over to Uranus. We don't have to think about that. Uranus does get favor faster with his oracles, so we don't have to think about it. But perception here is 10%. Our oracles at full length are going to be getting 0.06 favor a minute, or a second, excuse me, 0.06. We are going to be timesing that by, let's say, I think a fair amount of oracles being out on the map at a time is probably going to be about 5. Let's just go with 5. So that's going to be 0.3. And we're going to times that by our 0.1 and then times that by 60. And we're going to get 1.8 favor a minute from this, right? So this one really doesn't add that much. That's with 5 oracles, which is a fairly good, decent amount. If we go up to 10, that's going to be 3.6 extra favor a minute. So it's really not that good, unless I've done the math completely wrong, and then you can laugh at me, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate. Let's lock it in. I've had enough of these favor ones. There's a couple more favor ones in here to go for, so let's just run through those before we go back into anything else while I'm in the favor mindset. Thea has got prophetic sight, which is going to be oracles getting an extra 10% as well. So it is exactly the same, but it costs 50 food, 100 gold, 8 favor. So a little bit worse. Therefore, we can put it just behind prophetic sight, though these do stack. So now we're thinking we're actually starting to get quite a bit here. You can't stack it with this last one, which is going to be through Hyperion, which is Sons of the Sun, which makes all of your oracles heroes. So just for those of you wanting to play at home, if you convert your oracle into a hero, it goes from 0.06 up to 0.08. I'm not exactly sure what this is because the UI doesn't tell you exactly what the bonus is, but 0.0. So if you've got, let's just say you've got 5 oracles out, they're all going to be going up by 0.025. So 0.0, sorry, not 0.025, 0.02, and times that by 5. And then we are going to times that by 60, and you're getting yourself 6 favor a minute, right? 6 favor a minute from this, which is less than apples, right? Less than apples. So it's going to be a lot more than these ones. It's going to be similar to Necropolis. So we're just going to put it next to Acropolis. We might put it in front of Necropolis because it's a little bit more. You definitely can push this one up to 10, right? So there could be 12 favor a minute that you're getting from this. So it's anywhere between these ones. In fact, I might actually put the Sons of the Sun up here because I think it's probably more likely that you can get a lot more value out of Sons of the Sun than it is golden apples and all that stuff. So that's where it's going to go. Happy days, lots of favor for our Atlantean players. I think that's all of our favor things done. So let's move on to the next one. Happy days. All right, Poseidon's Secret. All right, we're back to being easy again. I love this. Poseidon's Secret is a unique technology to to Thea, which obviously you can get with Gaia and you can get with Uranus. It costs us 150 food, 30 favor, so fairly expensive. But it does make it makes Poseidon, the cavalry, 10% faster, which is military, but we're just going to put that to the side and just talk about the economic benefits of this one. It's 15% food, wood, gold, reduction. Now, I don't know why we get a wood reduction on this, but nonetheless, the Contarius are going to be 100 resources. So we are getting 15 resources off per Contarius. 15 resources off. Which is a hefty amount of resources, right? So if we are trying to compare this as to whether it goes up into a B tier economic technology or staying in this C tier, we have to ask the question, how many resources are we actually going to be getting back from this? So in order to get myself 60 resources a minute, I need to make myself 4 cavalry. Just 4. I don't have to think about this anymore. I don't have to tell you exactly how this one's working because I know this technology is bonkers, right? I just need 4 cavalry to get myself. It is expensive. Let's not get that wrong. 30 favor, that's a lot, but it's only 150 food, and favor is technically free. quote unquote, for Atlantean players. We won't go there. Free, not free. It's up to you to decide exactly how that works. But very, very good technology. The question is this better than Myrmidon for free every 45 seconds? Is this better than the Feasts of Renown, right? Is it better than those ones is the big question. If we make 30, let's just go, if we make, say, a whole army of these bad boys, 30 times 15, that's 450 resources. I don't think we can put this in front of these two technologies here. I just do not think we can. So we're going to go ahead and just pop this one below Argive parentage, below Feasts of Renown. Okay, Rhea's gift is obviously it's through Rhea. 75 food, 75 gold, all technologies, no more favor cost. Secret of the Titans, no more favor cost. Hero promotion goes up by 100% because there was a bug associated with it, and this is the easiest way to fix it. So it comes in here to fix it like that. It costs 75 food, 75 gold. Very, very cheap. Takes very, very long time. Very short amount of time to research at 5 seconds. The question is, how many technologies actually cost favor here? You've got Bite of the Shark. If you say you got Oceanus, Rhea, maybe Atlas, right? How much can you realistically get in a game? So we've got ourselves 95 favor if I get every technology available to me going through those club paths. So 95 favor for this technology. If we compare that over to, say, Sons of the Sun, which was going up by 0.2, 0.02 times 5 equals times 60. So 95 favor back versus the favor that comes through from every... So Sons of the Sun with only 5 oracles out is going to overtake this one in 15 minutes, 16 minutes. It's a pretty good technology, in all honesty. The only problem here is I have to buy these technologies, which I might not want. Do I really, really, really want Orichalcum Maat? Yes, I do. Do I really, really want to get myself Weightless Mace? Bite of the Shark. I mean, I might want one of them, but both of them? Not sure. Do I really, really want Devotees of Atlas? It's only 5 favor, but you know what I mean. Do I really want Guardians of Io? Not really. Do I want Titan Shield? And these are all technologies that we're going to be explaining in the next part, right? They're all military technologies. But I don't think I really do want all of these technologies. So I don't think that this technology is ever giving me 95 favor in a game. I think I might get 15 favor here, maybe 30 favor there. Maybe a 45 favor. I think 45 favor is probably a reasonable amount that I would get from a game on a consistent basis here. So that's going to be 7.5 minutes of my Oracle. I don't think this is better than Sons of Sleipnir. I think it's decent though. I'm going to be putting it above these ones. If I was to have this technology with Greek, for example, this technology would be absolutely busted because there's a lot of really high cost technologies in favor for Greeks. But I don't have it in Greeks. I got it with Atlantean, so it's down there. All right, so the next one is kind of a utility tech, but I'm putting it into economy because we are technically getting favor back for it. And this is going to be a Freyr unique technology through Ulla. He's the only one who has access to it. It's going to be called Ring Oath. 75 gold, 10 favor. Reduces the Asgardian Bastion cost from 100 favor down to 40. So we are getting 60 favor off on this. But 40 favor is kind of 400 resources, right? So that makes our Asgardian Bastion going up from 600 down to 400. That's cheap. That's 200 resources off per hill fort. But how many hill forts are we actually going to be making? Now, I know that Norse gets favor for free. I know that this isn't a great comparison, but it's the easiest way to kind of vocalize these kind of thought processes, and you can kind of judge whether or not this goes up or down based on all this stuff. And obviously I can choose to not put this down and I can go and get myth units instead, and I won't be able to use this tech and instead, but this god power. And there's lots of different things to kind of come up with, but this is just how I think about it. So I'm thinking about Asgardian Bastion with this technology, basically reducing my hill fort cost by 200 resources. I think this is maybe a little bit better than these technologies down the bottom here in terms of this. I mean, you could also think about this saving you 60 resources, 60 favor, and that's absolutely bonkers, but I mean, realistically, you're not ever going to be casting Asgardian Bastion at 100 favor, are you? So yeah, I'm going to say giving me 200 resources back, 60, 120, 180, 220. So every 4 minutes, I class this and I'm basically equal to this. I think this is probably worse than Flood of the Nile. I don't think we're casting this thing more than once every 4 minutes. So I'm going to pop it below Flood of the Nile. Okay, basically that's where we're at. Okay, Rigstoler is next. Rigstoler is unique to Heimdall. This is a really, really fun technology. This is getting us villagers coming out 20% faster, buildings training faster, technology is coming in 20% faster. The only reason I'm putting this into economy, because I think this is much more a utility tech than anything else, is because we're getting villagers out faster. That's the only reason. So, and we could probably think about this as less of a utility tech, less of an economic tech after I work this out. So if the villagers are training at 15 seconds and we take off 0.2, they are coming out at every 12 seconds. So every 12 seconds, we are getting ourselves 3 seconds of gather time more per villager. Every villager is coming out 3 seconds earlier and it compounds. Now, this is where some tricky math comes in. And I am not capable of doing this in my head. So we are going to be asking our trusty, ChatGPT what he thinks. Okay, so we've consulted ChatGPT. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say I am very much not understanding what ChatGPT has written because I am not up with my math. But what I've done here is I've tried to get him to give me the difference between how many villagers would gather, or how many resources I'd be able to gather, or villager potential gather time I could get at 10 minutes. For 10 minutes of difference. So if I've got 15-second villager train time versus 12-second villager train time. So what ChatGPT is saying is we've got 10,800 resources, or not resources, but 10,800 seconds of villager time. Of the villager is existing for that much time. The 12-second villager training time would be villagers existing for 13,500 seconds. If we convert that, and yes, there's going to be walking time and all the other stuff, trying to get to resources and everything else, but this is just the best way we can do it. We'll probably take off maybe like 10% of this, and that might be a little bit more accurate. But the difference is going to be 2,700 resources over that time. And if we then divide that by 10, that is going to be 270 resources per minute that we can potentially gain from this technology just inside of Rigstoler, which is better than a lot of these techs. And I'm going to go ahead and put the Rigstoler tech, because of that, below Poseidon Secret. I think Poseidon Secret was getting us quite a bit more. Actually, it might be better than Poseidon Secret, but we're going to put it, because we've got to also account for just a little. I know with utility, we're not really doing utility at the moment. I'm just going to say it's a little bit more utility in there with building, training, etc. You also have to account for the fact that Rigstoler does train in the town center, which would slow your villager production down as well. So you have to catch up to that before you overcome it. But nonetheless, we're going to be putting that one there and calling it a day. I'm not 100% sure. This technology is really, really good. And I want it to be seen here that it's really, really good. Definitely better than these kind of basic economic techs. Okay. Sacred Cats, Bast. This is unique to Bast. We come over here. We go into here. This is going to be giving us 5% extra on farms. So not a whole lot on farms. A little bit stingy there. 10% on huntables, herdables, and berry bushes. So very, very good where that's concerned. Plus you can get this with Ra. With Ra, it's costing 55 gold because ISIS is a cheapskate, won't pay full price for anything. But yeah, okay. So if you're on hunt, if you're on berries or whatever, it's much more closer to ads of wet. But if it's on farms, it's only 5%. Plus farms already gather much slower. If I'm going to be honest, food is a little bit more valuable than wood. But even so, given that I want to put it above ads, just because if we get this straight away, and we can, it's very cheap. We get this straight away in the archaic age, we're going to be getting, or not archaic age, classical age, we're going to be getting a lot more resources from our hunt. We're going to be getting a lot more resources from our berries and our chickens and our herdables. And it's basically the same here as ads of wet. We're getting a 10% on those. And once all that's dried up, it's still giving us a bonus of 5% on our farms, which can't be ignored. Yeah, we're going to be getting more value out of ads, but I just think that food is more valuable. We're going to just put it up above there. Okay, Shadoof. This one is unique to... everybody loves this technology. It's absolutely bonkers, right? Okay, let's actually work it out. We're getting 50% off of farms. Farms are costing 75... not 75 gold, but 70 gold. So that's going to be what? 35 gold? We're saving per farm. So how many farms can we build? I'm going to say we're at the very, very maximum. We're going to build 30 farms. So 30 times 35 is going to be 1,050 gold. I haven't really been doing this for this, so I'm not going to do it for this one either. I just want to say that you have to buy a Shadoof, so you have to minus 100 wood from that. But this is probably more of a fair technology to actually do that, take the cost off kind of thing. But nonetheless, all the technologies are fair to do that, to be honest. So let's not start. We haven't done it before, so we're not going to start now. So 1,050 resources total we're getting back for this technology. That's huge compared to if we divide that by 60, which is what that other one is. That would be 17 and a half minutes of Flood of the Nile, which is a lot. So I will say, yep, this technology is really, really nice. And we're going to go up here and put that one above Sacred Cats. Above Sacred Cats, because this technology is going to be... I mean, if we've got 20 villages on food, which is not a crazy thing. If we've got 20 villages on food and before it goes off, let's just figure that out. So 8 minutes and 75 seconds for our Sacred Cats to overtake a full value Shadoof, 30 farms. I'm kind of actually leaning to Shadoof being a little bit worse than Sacred Cats. Just because of that. Because like you're not going to put 30 farms down at once. You might. But you're more than likely going to be putting, say, 20 farms down, 15 farms down, and then slowly adding to them over the game, right? So it's not going to be, oh, I've just magically got 1,050 gold out of nowhere. It's going to be, now I've got 500 gold out of nowhere. And then I got an extra 200 gold out of nowhere. And then I got an extra 300 gold out of nowhere, right? So Sacred Cats is just going to be a slow grind of pushing us up. So yeah, I think Sacred Cats is going to get the win here. And plus Sacred Cats is going to work for the rest of the game. So you're definitely going to be getting more than 1,050 resources from Sacred Cats over the game. But again, we did like values over here of Forge of Olympus getting crazy amounts of value. So whichever. Okay, so now we've got ourselves this bad boy here. I think you guys are probably going to be like, you're crazy. All of this is terrible. And I'm going to be like, you're probably right. It is terrible. Okay, Safeguard. We've got ourselves... Mostly this one here is probably more of a military-ish type building, but it does give us a gold cost reduction on everything. And as a military tech, this is pretty lackluster. If we're getting a town center up, we reduce the gold of our town center by 50%. So it's going from 350 down to one. It's going from 350 down to 175, taking our hill fort from 300 down to 150. So, I mean, over the course of the game, you can get yourself, and your tower's also getting, they're only losing 25 gold, so it's really not that big of a deal. Plus your walls are getting cheaper as well. It's actually kind of a difficult technology to work out roughly what you would get over the course of the game, but let's just work out what a Yeah, let's work it out. So town center, double check. So 350 divided by 2 times by 2. You're going to be able to get yourself 350 here for the town centers over the course of the game. 350 gold for TCs. You're going to be getting yourself an extra 150 on a hill fort. Maybe we'll go up. Maybe we'll go up to 300 gold there, and then maybe some walls, which I don't know. I don't really think you're going to get that much back from walls. Let's just say a full wall is costing like, even if it costs 100, we'll call it 50 per full wall, and maybe we're going to build 4 full walls. So we're going to get like 200 gold from full walls. So all up in an average game playing Norse, 350 plus 300 plus 200 is less than Shadoof in terms of gold returned. And that's, yeah, that's less than Shadoof. So if Shadoof is here, we can't put it above Shadoof. I think it's back here with, we can compare it actually into this technology, because this is saving us 200, whereas this is saving us 150. So it's less than, it's less than Ring Oath. Okay, we've got there in the end. Safeguard is kind of worse than Ring Oath. Objectively, subjectively, I don't know. It's less than Ring. There we go. We're getting somewhere. Okay, now we've got ourselves Spirit of Maat. I love this technology. This technology makes our priests cost 50% less. It's also making them heal better, which is giving us more economy. It's kind of hard to tangibly tell exactly how much economy you're getting, but this is giving you more economy when you're healing stuff. But let's just work out roughly how much gold we're going to get from Spirit of Maat, which is 30% off. So we're getting 30 gold per priest. And mostly you're getting this technology when you're going for a priest seat. So when you're going for a max value Spirit of Maat, let's say we're going to be getting 50 priests, maybe more over the course of the game. So 50 times that's 1,500. So you're getting 1,500 gold from this. So it's just better than Shadoof, right? If you're going for that many priests, which you probably will. If you're not, and you're going for more of a normal game, you probably still want somewhere between 7 to 10 priests in your army, and they will be dying throughout the course of the game. So I'm probably not picking this up unless I'm going for a mass priest strategy. So if we're going for a mass priest strategy, it's worth a lot. If we're not, it's not worth picking up. But because it unlocks that strategy, I'm going to say that, well, we're going to be getting this technology only when we go for that mass priest strategy anyways. So it is going to be sitting up here above Shadoof by a big way. Right? It's 1,500. Like 50 priests is very, very stock standard in a priest siege sort of idea. Okay. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is sun-dried mud brick. This technology costs 200 wood, 20 favor, pretty cheap, makes our building's hit points go up, build time gets reduced. All of that to say that's kind of more of a utility sort of thing or a military sort of thing, but the gold cost is what we're kind of working out here. Mid-goals, 60 gold off. Town centers, 82.5 gold off. Barracks, 11.2 gold off. Let's say we're building 5 mid-goals. That's 300 gold. Let's say we managed to build 1 town center with this. We're probably not getting 2 town centers with this, in all honesty. That's only going to be 82. This is a pretty bare bones technology. It's pretty average in terms of the actual resources you get back. I think if you're getting this technology, you're actually getting it more for the build time reduction, more for the hit points than anything else. The gold cost reduction is just kind of here as a nicety on the whole thing. And as such, I'm going to say it's probably worse than Safeguard. In fact, there's nothing here that tells me it's better than Safeguard, because Safeguard is giving a 50% reduction, whereas this is only a 15%. Okay, Theft of Fire. Now this one's difficult. This one is very, very difficult here. Theft of Fire is a Prometheus upgrade for Atlanteans, 100 wood, 20 favor, but it makes all of your hero citizens get 20% bonus resources. So, I mean, the question is, how much is that really a bonus? So with no upgrades, I think all of this is off the base upgrades, all these bonuses. So let's just work it out nice and quickly. Hero villages gather at 1.65 food and wood. So food and wood gathers at 1.65 a second. Gold gathers at 1.4 a second. So the increase that Theftifier gives is 0.33 on food and wood and 0.28 on gold. There's no limit to hero citizens that you can make, but they are kind of pricey. But you can heroize them with your valid god power for free or for favor, which is very cheap, right? And that's going to get more expensive. I would say it's probably somewhat valid that I could substantially have 10 hero citizens out kind of early game, and then late game, I can make myself a ton of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to work out how much bonus this gives us when we have 50 and when we have 10. And we'll work out if it's actually worthwhile for us to make ourselves all hero citizens for the late game if we've got the resources, right? So if we've got 10, I'm going to say, let's just do it at the max here to make it easier. We could average this out, but we'll go 0.33 times 10 and then times 60 is 198 resources per minute that this is getting us, which is obviously going to be better than like Sacred Cats. It's going to be better. It's going to be better than a lot of these technologies here. So very, 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 very good technology if we're going to be investing into those hero citizens. Okay, so now if we have ourselves 50, so 0.33 times 50 times 60, we're now getting 990 resources per minute from this technology. That's at max, which is absolutely wild. And it does actually put itself up above Book of Thoth at that point. Right? Does it? 100 times 30%? No, it's worse than Book of Thoth. Because 100, what was it? 100 times 30 was 3,000, right? So this is 50 times point. Wait. What did I say? No. 100 times 0.3 times 60. That's 1,800. So that's getting, this is giving 30%. And this here is giving 20%. So this is obviously better. But this is 20% on 50. Yeah. This is giving more, right? Okay, so Theft of Fire at its peak value is worse than Book of Thoth. But it's really, really expensive because you have to like convert all of those citizens. And we also have to remember that there's these upgrades here, which are already giving us a similar amount of resources to what we just work out there. So what I'll do is I'll say Theft of Fire goes up here because it's got really huge potential in a game. Even at 10 villages, it's looking better than all of these upgrades, in all honesty. I'm going to put it here and just say, well, I mean, if you're going to invest that many resources into something, we can make that happen with Argive patronage. We can make that happen with Feast of Renown. So I'm going to go ahead and say, put this one back here. Okay. Now we're getting to the big one. Everyone loves this one. This one has got a lot of math in it. Valley of the Kings, available through Thoth. And it basically doubles your production out of a Migdol, but you don't have to pay for it. So you get 2 elephants or 2 chariots or 2 camel riders. You can also get 2 spearmen, 2 axemen, 2 slingers if you want. And let's just give you the exact numbers of how this is working right here and now. Okay, so war elephants cost 250 resources, chariot archers cost 140 resources, camel riders also cost 140 resources. War elephants train in 12 seconds when empowered. It's a little bit more, I think, than non-empowered, but you're getting 2, right? Chariot archers 7 seconds, camel riders 6 seconds. So we have to work out how many you get over the course of a minute, and then that is going to be the amount of resources you get from this technology. Okay, so War Elephants at 12 seconds. Every War Elephant, 250 resources is 1,250 resources per minute. Chariot Archers is 7 seconds at 140 resources is 1,200 resources per minute. Camel Riders at 6 seconds, 140 resources is 1,400 resources a minute. So if you want the most bang for your buck, make Camel Riders. There you go. But what this all comes down to is the Pharaoh has to be on your Migdol stronghold for this. So you are losing out on something substantial by doing this. So is it 1,250 resources per minute? I mean, probably not. You're probably thinking about, okay, if I've got a Pharaoh, I would probably have him, if not on that Migdol, probably on a gold mine, or Ra doesn't have Thoth, so it doesn't really count, but on a gold mine or on a town center or on a market trading, right? So I would say a guesstimate here would be Pharaoh on a gold mine. That's 20% bonus for 20 villages, roughly. They're gathering at like 0.85 or something like that, right? So then we have to times that by 60, times that by 0.20. That's about 200 resources. So we got to knock 200 off all of this to be absolutely fair. So I'm going to say War Elephant is 1,050. Chariot is 950 a minute, and Camel Rider is going to be 1150 a minute in total. So pretty good technology. Let's just go out on a limb and say that much there. But what were these technologies here giving us? This Book of Thoth here at 100 villages with a 30% increase on... Is that 30%? Everything is just a 10%, right? Did I completely butcher that? $100 times 0.1 equals 10 times 60. This technology here is getting us a flat 600 resources a minute, isn't it? It's not as good as I thought. I think it's worse than Theft of Fire. I'm a big dum-dum. Let me come up here. Scratch everything before. We've worked out that we've been done before at the end of the video. So 600 resources a minute on this big fat page here. Very, very good. Not close to Valley of the Kings. Pretty close, actually. That's only half. Well, a little bit over half. So, okay, fantastic. This probably means we can start moving all of these things up, right? And then I think we'll start saying these are down here then. Okay. We've completely fixed our tier list here after I figured out I made a pretty big mistake on our Book of Thoth here. So Book of Thoth with not giving 30% bonus, it's giving 10% bonus on everything. So it's got a grand total of 100 times 0.1 to work out exactly how much you're getting a bonus a second there, which is still very, very good. 600 resources a minute, but comparatively to everything else, not going to be bonkers insane. But this technology here giving us a flat 1,000 resources basically on average here, maybe a little bit more. Very, very good. It will be slightly worse than the Forge of Olympus for a couple of minutes. And then it will overtake Forge of Olympus if we continue to go down that route. I didn't quite work out exactly how much gold I would get on a trade route. So the longer the game goes on, the more I don't have a Pharaoh on my trade route. You should probably work that out. You're probably going to have, in a very late game, 50 camel caravans because there's going to be no gold and Pharaoh on that. So, 50 times 20% of whatever the gold rate is times that is the difference, and that might be actually more gold per minute than Valley of the Kings is giving you. So there's probably a bit of a fall off on here. But the question is whether or not Forge of Olympus or Valley of the Kings is better than each other. Because this is affecting all of your units here, and this is only really getting you more units, the quality versus quantity debate comes in. I'm just going to leave these two technologies up here as S tier and just say I'm not 100% sure which one's better. I think I'm leaning on Forge of Olympus just because I think that those armory upgrades are really, really good. more so than having the extra like resource income, rather than like just producing resources out of thin air, rather than both are doing the same thing, I guess. I mean, I guess it's this then. I guess getting 1,000 resources. I can't remember exactly how many minutes this, or exactly what Forge of Olympus was getting us. I don't want to do the math again. Like, even if it's 6 minutes, even if it's 6,000 resources that Forge of Olympus is getting us, then that's still only 6 minutes it takes for Valley of the Kings to pay itself off. Or beat Forge of Olympus, I should say, and then we can get our own technologies through. So let's go ahead and put that up there. All right, next one, we got Valley of the Kings. Not Valley of the Kings. What's this called? Vaults of Erebus. This is a unique technology for Hades, which is getting us 2 gold a minute, which is 120 gold. Sorry, 2 gold a second, which is 120 gold a minute, which is just better than this technology. It's also better than this technology. It's also better than this technology. It's also better than this technology. This is a B tier technology. This is absolutely insanely good for a archaic age technology. It's probably the best archaic technology in the game. I think that's fairly a fair statement. It might even be up here above these technologies here as well, because it's just so much extra resources. What do I still have that written down? No. I'm going to go up here and put this one up here. I'm going to put this at the very top of B tier because it's just so insane. Such a really, really good technology. Okay, next one we've got is Winter Harvest. This one's unique to Skadi. Absolutely bonkers technology. This one gives us, I think it's 20%. 20% on farms, 10% on huntables, herdables, berry bushes. 20% on farms. And we're probably going to get 30 farms or something. So if we think that Sacred Cats is good with 10% boost to food rate, this is Sacred Cats on steroids. I'm going to put it up here. I'm not sure if it's going to be, it's probably going to be, I'm going to put it behind Spirited Mark because I'm not 100% sure. But 20% boosted farms, probably actually similar to Vaults of Erebus here. We might actually pop this one up here in front of all of these. Maybe behind Sons of Slipnir. I still think that technology is absolutely insanely good. Okay, next one. This one's a difficult one to work out. Vikings, unique technology to Njord. This one's giving us an extra 10 gold to the raiding cavalry bounty earning reward. I did a little bit of a test on this, and it didn't seem like I was getting a crazy amount of gold from it. Plus, I have to build raiding cavalry, which I don't really want to build if I'm going through Njord. I want to be building those Jarls and getting Ring Giver. So, unfortunately, I just don't see this technology ever really seeing any use. And as such, I think this technology is F tier. I just don't... the problem isn't the technology. Value-wise, is probably fine. I'm not going to get into it, but you're just not really wanting to build raiding cavalry when you go through Njord. Njord is about Jarls, so we get Jarls, and that's good. All right, so the rest of these technologies down here are just utility technologies. They shouldn't have been, or military technologies. They shouldn't have been in this batch. I made a mistake on those. This is our economic tier list. Happy days. This took a lot of effort. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm not like, if you have any disagreements or whatever, do let me know in the comment section below what you guys reckon. I definitely want to have a little bit more of a better understanding of the game than I do. So if you think something's wrong here on this, let me know, and I'll give you a little love heart reaction if I agree with you, and a big comment with an argument about why you're wrong if I disagree with you. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys in the next one.